jump down, and then say some fucking gay shit. I'm gay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Crastinators podcast. Oh, that's right, everyone. You should be excited because this is a very special week. But first, let's introduce everybody who's here today. It's me, of course, the best guy ever, king of the castle, lord of the manor. We also have Ben.
It's me, Ben Saint of Patreon.
Wow, what a meme. We got Digibro.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
We've got Hypocrite.
I wasn't prepared for saying anything.
And we've got Jess.
Endlet G, also called Larry the Comic Guy.
And finally, Tom Oliver.
Hello.
The best one of the three. All right. That's right. Okay, so
Which three?
Today's a very exciting day because what we're doing today is we're touching each other's dicks. We're putting them in our mouths. We're making a spherical circle, and we're just going all kinds of crazy because this is the Great Circle Jerk.
Yeah, Great Circle Jerk 2016. You see, viewers, as it happens, we're all the best, and today we're gonna tell each other that over and over again.
It's come to my attention that there has been far too little shilling of ourselves on this channel. And it's become a big problem. The people need it. The people crave it. And so this is our response.
I wouldn't say
to that
shilling.
desire.
I would describe it as fluffing.
Well, you can shill yourself. I mean, it's, pick your turn.
Let me
It's all
fluff
good.
my ball hair.
I would describe it as
Ew.
campaigning.
Campaigning.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's all about campaigning
On the
nowadays.
campaign trail.
Suddenly, all of us like just spontaneously grew ties out of our shirts. Like,
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is relevant at all, but it does so happen that we are recording this on Guy Fawkes Day, the man who tried to blow up Parliament and upset that establishment. And that's why you need to vote for Bernie Sanders. Write him in on the fucking ballot.
I'm for that. I'm for writing in
And,
Bernie
you
Sanders.
Yeah.
Write in whoever. Write in this guy. Write in Endlet G. Write in me. Write in anybody. Anyway, okay, so let's. What are we gonna do here? We're gonna pick somebody and then talk about how they're the best. Is that what we want to do?
The concept here
That
is
sound good?
each of us is going to take our hand and we're going to just, 45 degrees to the right, grab the next guy's dick, jack it.
Okay, so why
Okay.
don't we start? I mean, I'm looking in the chat. We got Ben is the first. So let's just all start.
No,
with
not
Jack.
me.
Jack it a dick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. You're the top of the bill here.
Dick.
Because-
Here's, friends, is what I like about Ben's work.
No.
It's
You don't
it's
have to
can't-
take Ben first.
I can't
Let's do
take
Nate
a
so he'll shut up
compliment.
and he'll have to listen to us talk about him.
okay, I guess if you want.
Who wants to talk about how cool Nate is?
Oh God, this is gay.
right? That's what I'm saying. It feels
This is
weird,
the
right?
worst. Oh
I
God,
didn't know it'd
hate
be gay.
this. I think without a doubt,
Here we
this
are
is
with our dicks out.
this is
We
by
just
far the
didn't
most
know.
homoerotic one. Yeah.
This is the
Pulling your
part where
dick out's
everyone
one
realizes
thing.
This
no
is
one
what would've
actually
happened
wants everyone
if-
to
if
say
I-
we're
No,
cool.
if you guys want to do me, I can take it. I've steeled
Okay.
myself.
Yes.
All right.
Anyone but me.
I kind
All
of
right.
like
I
if
volunteer
we
as
actually were
tribute.
at RadCon, if we were to do the gay thing, I think what would happen is we
You
would
mean
get our dicks out.
sex?
Yeah.
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 Sex,
But
the
we would
gay
be like,
thing.
oh, I don't want to be the first guy to touch someone else's.
Well, yeah, because that makes you it just like even if you're not
So
gay,
we'd
that
be
makes you
just
the
standing in a
most gay
circle.
of the group.
Standing in a circle with our dicks out, looking at each other like, oh.
All right.
Okay,
Guess
well
this
I'm
is
gonna
it.
I
I'm
vol-
gonna be the man to grab the dick first.
I volunteer
Ben.
as tribute. Everyone, please
Good.
praise me. Just praise. just heap my well-deserved praise upon me.
Ben, I know you. I've known you for the longest,
Yep.
and I remember back when your art was not what it is now. I remember when we started T-BAP some 4 years ago, perhaps now, 3 or 4 years.
No fucking
and
way.
Like 3.
I think it was 4. I thought it
I
was
think
4
it's
years
less than
now.
3, or maybe
Oh,
just
yeah,
about.
it was
3.
2013.
It was the end of
2013.
2013.
Right. Okay. So that's was
3
is that
years.
closer to 3
It's
or 4.
about
Okay,
3
3
years.
years.
Who cares?
Whatever. 3 fucking years. And your work was much less polished. Like comparing the stuff that you were producing then to what you're doing now with the Vapors and the Champion, it is incredible to me that someone could advance that much in the span of time. And while not fucking... And I've always liked how you are not like me, where I need the security of making a plan, and like I have my job because I don't trust myself to just go jump out and do something. But you have never been like that. You always just go jump headfirst into things, and I've always admired that. So there you go. And you did it with your art. Wow. And you know, T-BAP was a similar sort of venture. It was your suggestion, even though we both contributed mostly equally.
Yes.
And I'm sure I'm glad.
Yes. Wow. That was very heartfelt. That was very heartfelt, Nate, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it was really gay though. Real gay though.
Yeah, it was very All
right, who else?
I'm impressed with the way you can make like. I'm just impressed with Magda. I like her. She's great.
Okay.
Magda's the best character design of all time. Her hair is so awesome. I love everything about it. It's the coolest.
Thanks.
Yes.
It's good.
Right? And she's got a very distinct silhouette.
I am jealous in terms of art skill because I've always wanted to make like a comic, in like even a small one, and you just like I'm gonna make one, and you did it, and you made a website.
Yeah,
made a Reddit.
Over like 6 months, I did it.
I mean, but like you had an idea and it was good. It's got a good style. I don't know.
Let's talk
Good
about
job.
the fact that Ben's area of expertise is inherently more valid as art than what most of us do, which is YouTube, which is worthless.
That's
and
true.
Should not exist.
Yeah.
I am the only real artist among us. I lend us an air of much needed credibility.
You know, even aside from credibility, it's good to just have diversity of any kind. Aside from just a bunch of video guys who just make videos.
That's true.
You know, it's good to have.
I like that. That because Ben's in. I mean, Ben is kind of a video guy, and I like that some of us can do more than one thing. You know, like I basically don't do anything other than videos and podcasts. So it's cool that we have people around who can simultaneously be in a video if need be, and can be good in a video if need be, but also have like a whole different thing, which Ben and Tom.
You did just produce an album. I don't want to get to the circle jerk of Digi too hard right now, but I'm just
I forgot.
It's pretty cool.
We'll bring that up. We'll touch on that.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that.
Touch it several times.
We'll touch it.
Stroke on it. You know, yeah.
I respect the fact that Ben is of a different breed from most indie comic people.
Faggots.
When you read the Vapors, for example, they're not falling in love, and nobody is a woman with a dick, and there's not any icky trans stuff happening.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God.
I'm confused. I'm confused what you're praising right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, compared to the landscape of DeviantArt and Tumblr comics that are bursting out of the internet at the seams.
Let Jesse say it.
You have this sort of like Seinfeldian aversion to anything trying too hard to be deep.
Oh God!
So everything that you write
totally
comes
do.
off as pretty sincere and real because it's not trying too hard.
Oh, well, I feel that way too. I feel like, I hate to like write a story that's just easy or that's been written before.
Yeah,
or that
I would agree.
Could be described as conventional in any way.
I agree with Jesse in that I feel like when I see most art on the internet, I think I immediately like find a trend I'd compare it to. Even great art, like someone like GGDG with Cucumber Quest, beautiful art. But when I see it, I think, okay, this kind of reminds me of like the New Wave Cartoon Network stuff and like what's going on Tumblr a little bit, you know. And I see all this art that's very Homestuck or very Tumblr, very this or that. And I look at your stuff and like it's obvious that you're manga inspired, but it doesn't look like manga, but it also doesn't look like OEL, you know. It's its own thing. It doesn't quite look like any other like. It doesn't make me think, well, this is obviously where he comes from, you know?
Well, yeah. It could stand out if it was on a shelf from other people trying to do comics.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ben, I think there are two distinct things about you that I really respect and appreciate. The first is just, like, your raw ability and, like, being able to draw the way you do. Like, you draw the way I wish I could draw. Like, if I imagined in my mind, like, how my art style would naturally develop over the course of 5 years, it would end up something like yours.
Thank you.
Just like, because like I've always been a really big fan of like bold line art, like really like distinct character styles, and like your art, especially with the champion, really brings that. But you still have a lot of like sense of detail. Like things are simplified and streamlined and cartoonish, but there's also just enough detail there to give it like some dimension and grit that a lot of super simplified styles don't have anymore. And that's something I've always struggled to try and do in my work, that I've like streamlined stuff, but it's kind of gotten too streamlined, and I think it looks too basic. But you definitely like ride that line really well. And then the other thing that I really appreciate about you is the fact that you like are able to just like focus in on one thing. Because like I wanted to do my comic, or I wanted to write my book and stuff, but like I still want to do the YouTube because I can't really let go of that, because I still want to like hold on to the YouTube part. I want to do videos, and I want to do writing, I want to do blogging and all these things. But like you did TBAP. They're like, TBAP's done, now I'm doing comics, and like just focusing on that one thing. And I can't do that.
I am really good at focusing, but it's to my benefit and detriment, because I get obsessed with one thing and I can't think about anything else.
I've observed this cataclysmic effect this can have in person.
Yeah,
I feel like the
I'd like
benefits
that,
would
though.
be worth it, especially for someone with my mentality, which can't do that at all.
It's always going to be a bit of the grass is greener. Like if you're not like
Right.
that, you'll see the benefits. But you know, it's still.
I mean, there's certainly plenty of benefits, and I too would praise Ben for that. Although I also have watched how, you know, like none of the champion was drawn in the last month because of the Pokemon. You know,
I did get obsessed with making the Nuzlocke vids to the champion's detriment. I think the videos came out really good, but
There's a term for that kind of hyper focusing on one thing to the exclusion of other.
Does it
things.
start with an A?
Are you familiar? It may.
Okay.
I'll leave it open to interpretation.
Okay.
Hey, another real cool thing. In fact, just your very last
artist. Artist is the word.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The last
Artism.
the last Nuzlocke you did, which had that amazing, horrifically tragic ending with the whole musical bit.
Yes.
That was great. And you know, since you don't do a lot of video editing on the whole, I very much am glad to see you kind of adapt and do something like that. I mean, nothing about it was hugely complex.
No,
but to take
I did
the extra effort to put it in.
I spent a lot of time on that ending because like I finished that episode and I was like, this is really sad, and I felt really sad, and I was like, you know what, I should really edit this. I should really just go all out and just push the sad angle of this scene and just do everything I could. Just do the flashbacks and the music and like cut out, you know, like edit the words I'm saying so that like I cut out a couple of like jokier lines that sort of detracted from the pathos of it. You know, put it, you know, change the end card, just have it fade out on a whole different thing. And
it was well done.
Yeah, but it did because I'm not really a video guy. It did take me an extraordinary amount of time, but I had a fucking vision that I wanted to realize with that.
Well, it was it knocked it out of the park.
And
it was the best one yet.
And if everything goes according to plan, the fucking finale will be even more like that. I hope.
Awesome.
I gotta say, my time observing Ben as an artist has been a constant like one-upping of impressing me more. Where like my first exposure to Ben is the first T-Baps, which were not good. It was
Shut up,
they were great, man. Get the fuck out of here. You don't know. They had Keg and Phantom. That's the 10 out of 10 right there.
Well, they were sent to me because I was the EQD poster guy, and I get sent this video that's like, you know, I didn't really take in the designs of the OCs, which are great, but like the actual drawing was not that amazing.
They had to come to life,
one.
you know. It was a ritual we were performing,
and the audio was really bad. But then suddenly, I get sent this one where all of a sudden the designs are great, and I assumed that you guys like, you know, paid some artist to like revamp your OCs or something when I first saw it. Like, oh wow, now suddenly the art is good and the audio's decent, and then all right, I'll definitely post this on EQD. And then all of a sudden, each episode there's all these new artistic styles coming in and like all these different ideas. There's this one where Phantom Horn's like in live action and he's spilling ink all over the page trying to draw stuff. That was fucking genius. That was the moment when I was like, whoa, these guys are fucking great. And then, you know, Phantom reviews and Keg reviews, these huge art, like, animatic projects.
Spent like 6 months drawing fucking Phantom reviews.
6 months on Phantom
Spent
reviews.
Me so
yeah.
much. I could do it so much faster now. That's the only thing I can say.
And then when I met you guys and you were like talking about your OCs and all the shit you'd made up, and I was just like, this wellspring of creativity being wasted on ponies. And then finally,
we had the collection of the greatest pony OCs. Every single one of our OCs was the greatest pony OC ever made.
It was. That is not. That is no hyperbola right there.
Sticky Situation needs his own comic series.
There was Sticky Situation. There was Ultimate Pumpkin. There was Horse
Ultimate
Fister.
fucking pumpkin.
Horse Fister. Oh, there was a Silver Lining.
Silver Lining, a good one.
He was awesome.
Are we forgetting any? I think we might be forgetting some.
But eventually, that great talent stopped being wasted on ponies, and then for like months, Ben's like, I'm working on this comic, and now I remember when when we did the comic trades at BronyCon, and I know Ben remembers me saying this, but I was just so impressed with how dynamic Ben could make the poses of the ponies like so fast, because the comics jam is you have 5 minutes to draw one panel of a comic and then we all trade, and everyone else would just try to draw like an okay picture. It would be like, I'll try to draw the face and make it look okay. I'm talking about other like people who consider themselves artists, other DeviantArt artists and stuff. People we're friends with. They're drawing like a decent looking photo of a pony. Ben would draw these super dynamic poses of like a character doing something. Like doing some really interesting thing that totally brings it to life, and I
would split it into I would split my panel into multiple panels and draw like scenes playing out.
And like I remember that. Over time, I eventually saw the Vapors. I was like, this is fucking great. I love the characters, I love the art style and everything. And then, like, everything you've done since then has impressed me more. Like, I liked Brunswick even more than Chapter 1 of the Vapors. I like Champion's art is even more impressive. The character designs are fucking just gorgeous in Champion, and those are my favorites. Incidentally, is both the girls from Champion.
Yeah, they're cute.
Agatha is the cutest. Agatha is #1 waifu from the Beniverse.
And then I was shocked all over again when Inktober started, because you started doing these like really sketchy ink drawings with like different colored pens in totally different styles from anything I'd see, because I only know you for like the minimal look, and then suddenly you're drawing these like really detailed robots and like these muscle men and shit and fucking, and I was like, where did this come from? Because this is almost even cooler, like even cooler than what I know you for. Like, I like the minimal Scott Pilgrim-y stuff, but the hyper detailed stuff, I was like, man, I want to see Ben draw a fucking post-apocalypse war story now with mechs and shit. Totally original. Anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, go to Ben's Twitter, look at his Inktober drawings. All of those were like literally concept to completion in like 30 minutes. Like, even the big robot, like, that's a completely...
Since we're shilling, what's Ben's Twitter handle? It's @Ben something.
It's also ugly.
It's also ugly with 2 L's on the all.
Right, but like that robot is a completely original robot design. It's not based on anything. Ben just came up with a robot and drew it, and it looks like what would be in, like an 80s cyberpunk manga or something, but it's not actually. It's not someone else's design.
Here's a flattering comparison. Well, since we're talking about robots, did you know that Eiichiro Oda has said that if he finished One Piece, one day he'd like his next series to be a mecha series or some sort of
I've never
robot.
heard that.
Yeah, that's what he said. I mean, it was probably like 10 years ago at this point, but he did say it. He did say it.
And to cap off my praising Ben's artwork, just like 2 nights ago, me and Ben and Devu did like a little drawings jam where we just like for 10 minutes, I gave us a topic and we'd all draw a picture, and like I would spend like 10 minutes just trying to make a comprehensible face. Like, just that I want you to understand that this is a human is all I was worried about. And, Devu was drawing these like weird esoteric things. And then Ben would show us like a page with like 4 different illustrations on it. All these different characters doing all this different stuff. That's also on his Twitter.
Did you? I want to mention that I've never been sadder that you're not a better artist, because the picture, the Vapors fan art you tried to draw was like it was beautiful. I loved it so much, but then looking at it, it's like I couldn't even tell what it was.
It was great concept, no execution at all.
Amazing though. It was Vincent lying in bed vaping, and he was vaping up a cloud that was taking the form of like a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like
Oh my
vaping.
God,
he was
that's
like
beautiful.
vaping his ideal girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It-
was
oh,
supposed to be a
that's-
QT 3.14, as it
Yeah.
says in the clouds,
I
because he
might,
would totally say that.
I like that so much. I might go and make it myself because it's really
I
good.
hope
you
so.
should. That's-
you
gee,
could
that's
actually
fucking
do
great.
it. Mine was god awful. If you
Yeah.
like the image you have in your mind is so much better than what you would look at if I showed it to you. Especially because I drew Vincent like totally wrong. But yeah, and other than that, I'll also praise the fact that Ben can and will eat anything.
Yes.
Ben has. This might not be considered. A lot of people might think, they might think Ben, he doesn't shower very often. Smells bad.
It's only
has
because I
no-
never leave the house. Okay, if I left the house,
has no
I would
scruples
shower.
about anything. Some people might see that as a bad thing, but personally, I really, I legitimately admire the fact that Ben will eat absolutely anything.
I don't like where this
Because it's
praise has
there.
gone.
Guys, I just want to put on the record. We've been saying this shit to Ben for years, and he never believed us. We've got outside proof now. We've got testimony. It's not just
he
us.
knows.
It's
He knows at
I
this
know
point.
now.
Right.
I know. Yeah, I have
Okay,
terrible
okay.
hygiene. It's because I never leave my room. That's
All right, fair
that's the
enough.
reason.
By the way, Ben, speaking of your art, I here's a little inside scoop, folks, for people who like the Vapors. I remember when you were finishing it, you had finished basically the whole thing, and if I recall correctly, the very last thing that you were working on was just one panel in the middle that was like a shot of the apartment building after Vincent, I think, came back home.
Like the big shot of the building from outside.
Of the dorm room, yeah, or what? Yeah, the big. That is by far, it's the most attractive looking picture in the and
Yeah,
frankly,
it's great.
It's kind of my favorite thing you've ever drawn. It's
Just that
it's
picture of the building?
Just that picture of that building, like the way that the clouds, the spooky way the clouds are coming out of
it's got
some
a very
windows
Soul Eater look
and
to
the
the
lights.
clouds. I like
It
that a
does.
lot.
I
just
really like that illustration.
really like that.
It is a great picture, and I think I made it like my banner on Tapastic or something because I really liked it.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
Appropriate. Yeah,
all right.
just throwing that
Ben,
out there.
put your dick away. Who are we sucking next?
Wait.
Draken, I guess.
Patreon.com/Bensing. All right.
Yes.
There's
And
never
Ben-
been a
Ben
better
inspires
time.
us all.
There's never
Ben
been a
inspires
better
us all.
time to shill
I'm
my
just
taste.
imagining Ben like he's literally holding his dick, about to put it away, and then he goes, "Wait." And then he like shakes it. It says like patreon.com/Ben. He just slips it back in his pants.
Gross.
All right. Well, next on
Well,
the list
thank
here,
you everyone for all those kind words, and even for the less kind ones.
All right, next I guess is Digi, since he's number 2 on our list here.
Just skip me.
Why do you get to fucking opt to skip?
No, I'm not
Everyone's
going to skip
if we
Digi.
can just skip.
Digi, you, I'm very impressed all the time that what you do with your life is exactly and only what you want to do, and no more and no less. And you have, I don't know, you've just got like a drive. You've got a drive to exhaustively catalog, your thoughts on this one thing, and you've formed your whole life around doing that. And it's pretty amazing, actually.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I'm very jealous of the fact that you have been writing for so long, that you're so good at it, that you can do all the stuff you do really quick.
Yeah, that you
And
can just crank it
it's-
out.
it's
That's
such a
really
good-
impressive.
It's such a good talent to have, or skill to have, to be able to do what you do for a living,
I was
at that speed.
trying to write a script for my Lisa thing, and I was like, God, this is not coming out good. And I thought, if Digi could bang out like 10 pages on this, like if he were the one who loved Lisa and wanted to make a video on it, the video would be done in a day.
Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't even have to script it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
See, this is the
not
problem
beat
with
around-
praising me, is that I'm just gonna double
Yeah,
down on all of it.
I'm sure you will. Well, let's not beat around the bush here, because Digi is obviously leading the charge for all of us into being successful at all of this kind of shit. I mean,
Which one of you
just-
is sucking off a vacuum cleaner? Stop it.
yeah, what is
it's
that?
obviously Digi
I think it's-
vaping.
I'm
Digi
vaping
vaping.
hard fucking
dude, you're
rips
vaping.
of vape, dude.
I'm vaping, dude.
You guys. We're good work curing that cancer. in
We're
yourselves.
the
All right.
vapors.
You are.
Digi, your the professionalism that you bring to doing all this shit is, I mean, it'd be an understatement to think that I use it as sort of the path that I am hoping to follow. It's pretty much, I pretty much try to copy what you're doing, and frankly, there's no higher praise that I can give than I am willing to follow the same path as what you're doing. And it's not like we make the exact same content or anything, but
Right.
I mean, you always talk about how you're trying to blend your boogie and your pop, like your wish to make your content that you like, but then possibly even equally important is to make it digestible to people, make it popular, and get it out there so that people can appreciate it. That is a very valuable lesson that someone like me, I think, would really resist, because I'm kind of a foolish, naive idealist about these things that I'm trying to shake off. But seeing that you've just done it and it's worked out, so great, relatively speaking, I think it's been extremely helpful to me, and I'm really glad to know you and to sort of be able to be involved in this kind of stuff.
Nate is just
Super
going
gay,
full
but thank
gay
you.
on this. He's not holding
I don't
anything
know.
back.
I'm being honest.
No, you're not holding anything back. It's wonderful.
Somebody has to get the gay going.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
somebody has to get
Oh
the
God,
goodies
what
out.
have I been reduced to that I'm leading the gay charge? Oh God, I apologize.
I respect that Digi does not let himself get bogged down in perfectionism at all.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
For
That's
example,
true.
Yeah, his stuff totally
Yeah,
sucks.
he's
and it's
basically
great.
garbage.
yeah. Like when I was over there and we were putting the finishing touches on the Bedroom Bedrock album, and I gave him the verses that I had recorded before I came over. I was listening to Get Action. I was listening to my verse. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like I could do this part a little bit better here. But Digi's like, what? I just posted it. And I'm like, okay.
I remember that.
Like,
Well,
if it
my
had been up to
method
me,
is-
I would have just recorded my verse 1,000 million times, and the album would have never ever come out.
Well, it's funny, Jesse, because you're the one who's always saying that if you really love someone, you'd love them warts and all. Like, you'd love all the imperfections about it. And so for me, I just
I hate myself, so I must have no warts
Well,
ever.
Right.
I release stuff that's like I release stuff that I have big problems with, but then over time I gradually just kind of take that as like, oh well, that's just part of it, it's just a flawed thing, and that's just a part of the product, it's an excuse to not have to keep working on it mostly. But
it's kind of an art form in itself to recognize that like your standards that you're bringing as the creator of the artwork, whatever it may be, are not what people are going to be viewing it as.
Right.
And I think guys like me and Jesse have I would say it's a huge weakness
definitely
of
have a
ours
big
that we
problem
don't,
with that.
Yeah.
Nate, you introduced me to a quote. It was like, in this moment, I'm euphoric.
Boy.
No, it wasn't that one. It was art is never finished, only abandoned.
Yeah.
I don't know who said that, but you told it to me one time, and I was like, wow, that's so true. And, it's part of art, part of being an artist is learning the ideal moment to abandon it. When continuing to work is going to no longer yield worthwhile results.
That is a very difficult balance to find, and one that
It's
struggle
tough,
with
man.
I'm
the
still
daily.
working on it. But
that's like one of the advantages that Digi has. I mean, it's not like it was given to him. It's just that he's produced more stuff than any of us, and as a result, he's gotten just more experience at like what is appropriate, when to stop, when to keep going.
Yeah.
And I think it's served him quite well.
thank you.
There's another thing I want to talk about is that you're not embarrassed at all to wear your influences on your sleeve and just copy things that you think would be cool.
Yeah.
Because I've always had like
Yeah.
a problem with like every time Jesse does something interesting, Digi says, "Oh, I want to do that," and then you do it, and it's like, if I were to like feel like I wanted to copy somebody, I would feel apprehensive. I would feel like it's like wrong or like cheap in some way, but
yeah,
I never feel like there's anything to be ashamed of when you do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, recently you did the podcast by yourself where you talked about the thumbnails, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree, but I don't want to copy him. But then I got over that, and I just changed them all, and it is better.
I remember
That video created a storm where like everyone's out there changing their fucking thumbnails now.
This isn't about Digi exactly, but I remember in one of Mumkey's Nuzlocke, he says like, "Hey guys, if you like my videos and you want to do Nuzlocks like this, don't feel like go ahead and copy me, because I've copied this from everyone else, so it's like just fucking just do it."
Monkey is even more than me, like very willing to wear influences on his sleeve, and and Jesse as well. Jesse, I mean, directly quotes wrestlers constantly and stuff, and I mean, the way I see it, and the reason I do it that way, is that for one thing, I don't think there's such thing as original ideas. Like, you are the product of, you know, what you've experienced before. No one learns how to write who's never read a book before. Like, the fact that you even have the idea of a book is because you've read a book, you know? And your ability to write is going to be the summation of all those other people's books combined with yourself. And then also, whatever you take from someone else, you're going to inherently make it different by not being them. Like, even if I just outright steal a Jesse line, I can't deliver it the way he can. So it's going to be different. It's going to have a different meaning when it comes out of my mouth, you know? So that's sort of my philosophy about that.
You know, going off of Gibbs' point a little bit ago, where he said it's made him more open and stuff about, you know, influences, and that led into what you're talking about now. It's funny to me to think back, because you know how Keg Standard, like, one of the things about the character was that he loved anime but was embarrassed about it and was, like, ashamed of that.
For anyone who isn't aware, that's our old Pony OC.
Right. I mean, that was very much a real thing for me. When I was in high school, I wore a lot of, like, anime shirts and I just didn't care because I was a silly little boy. But in college, I sort of developed, thanks to the friends I hung out with a little bit who didn't appreciate the stuff that I did. I definitely kind of repressed that stuff a little bit in myself.
You were rubbing them the wrong way.
That's right. But,
hanging
like,
with a bad crowd that didn't admit to liking anime.
Well, I think it was. I think it's a bad thing to not be honest about the things that you like. Yeah. And I've just noticed over the last couple of years, since meeting guys like you, Digi, and Jesse too, and just kind of getting immersed in this stuff, that side of me is like the best guy ever persona who just, like, has all these waifus around him. Like, I feel like that's more true to the guy that I've always wanted to be, and I think it's through the influence of guys like you that I kind of was able to, you know, realize that about myself.
Let me say, I may have said this to you before, did you? But back in the day when I discovered you, when it was pony time, you know,
which it always is.
It's not that ever stopped or anything. It's
pony time.
Yeah.
You know what they say? Even a broken clock is pony time twice a day.
So I remember, like, I watched a couple of your videos and I was like, this guy, and I remember that my impression was like, this guy is wicked uncool and he's wicked lame, but he's so enthusiastic about the things that aren't cool about him that it kind of circles around to being cool again.
That's kind of exactly how Jesse said he got into me. Yeah. That it was obvious that there was self-awareness to it because it was so over the top.
You were doing this lame stuff, but delivering with so much confidence that it didn't feel that lame.
Yeah. The confidence is great. Like, I like the fact that you never second guess yourself, or at least never in a video. Like, you would never say, well, maybe or maybe not. Like, you're always,
unless
like,
I legitimately am
statements.
not sure if the information I'm saying is true.
Well, yeah, if it's like informational, but if it's like an opinion thing, you've made your decision and then you say it, and it's like that's me for until you change your mind.
The thing about there being no guilty pleasures, I've taken into myself. I've made it part of my life philosophy as well. It's an excellent point, I think.
Well, thanks for all the...
And that's why on every Digi video, go smash that motherfucking like button.
Thanks for all the gay praise, everybody. But I want to say for our audience, because I kind of was going to have you all skip me, because I feel like the point of this is to pump people up who aren't as watched, and obviously everybody...
Well, we're pumping something right now.
But like, what I want to say about this is that every single one of the things you guys have praised me for is something that was something I had to learn, and was all something that I, have taken on over the years. I started writing my anime blog in 2007, and none of the praise you guys are lavishing on me would have been true back then, except for the fact that I write fast, and that was always true. And I was a lot less consistent, but I did write fast and try to get ideas out there as fast as possible. And I think that had a huge... did a lot to make all the rest of it follow. And I've quoted this before from Shirobako. There's this part where this old guy says, like, you have to get fast when you're young, because as you get older, you lose endurance. But you will keep gaining skill. You just won't have the endurance to just do a whole lot of things really fast. And I really think that because I was just young and so full of energy, I just made so much bullshit. Just an endless sea of bullshit. And if you go read my blog, it's all there. It's all shit. Go read anything I wrote before 2011, and you'll be like, holy fuck, I can't believe that I listened to this guy ever, you know? But that's what it took, you know? It took just getting out all that stuff. And I'm glad that everyone, because I have all that experience and I'm so good at analyzing it and explaining it, that I can tell that to other people and they can skip a lot of the steps that I had to go through, you know? Like,
yeah, that speed is kind of like the core strength. It was the seed that allowed, you know, this other shit to come forth.
Seed.
Which will be coming out of your dick once we can finish up this jerkin session.
Yeah, I've blown my
Alright,
load. I'm putting
I think-
it back. So
who's next? Who's next on the
Hypocrite.
agenda?
Hypocrite is next on the list. What can one say about a man who is both hippo and gibbon monkey?
and crit.
We all kind of just fell in love with you, Gib. Back in the pony days when you were on Give and Take, making your shit there, and there was something, you know, actually, what was great about the way me and Ben first noticed you was that you made these big old fucking compilations of like what other guys were doing. Like there was all the people doing just reacting to the current pony episode, but you went way further than other people and did this whole big animated thing of like all the analysis dudes, and me and Ben lost our fucking mind. This was the first time we thought anyone gave a shit about us, when among the other people you animated the two of us, just made these little dolls of us, put us in there. We were losing our shit. We were over the fucking moon. Somebody cared about us at all. It was the best.
The thing about Hippo, or the thing, well, since we're talking about back in the day, the thing about your pony videos is just you just went way further than anyone else, and you actually had jokes, and you actually made original art, and you had like original jokes and comedy and bits and stuff, and you just were way more creative about it than anyone else was. And to this day, I mean, you've got a sense of humor and a sense of comedic timing that is not like anyone else, and is probably the best. You're definitely. I think you're the best at that stuff out of any of us.
I agree. I think that I've always thought that, because Hippo always is down on himself in his writing and stuff, but I genuinely think that he has among the funniest and best writing / editing of anyone here or anyone, and it's hard to put my finger on like specific things, but I just really like his videos a lot, and he's like totally a unique voice. I've never heard or seen editing or delivery like his by anyone else ever. He's a totally his own thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'll never forget. I think this is when I really, really started to like your stuff. It was, I forget which pony episode it was, but you were just like talking about something like, and we'll be back after the break, and your arm just breaks, and you put a little, and it's like, I like it. Like it was.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what I think after the break. I like it.
Yeah, it was 10 out of 10. It was just stuff like that in this pony shit. I mean, you know,
you've got.
It was great.
All right. So, I love the character of Hippo, as in the Hippo.
Yeah.
He is awesome, and every time he's in a video, I'm just overjoyed to see him.
I am too. He's a wonderful man.
He is a wonderful man. And Top 10 Hippos is one of my favorite videos of all time.
It is great. Yeah, your stuff is just so unique. You know, you could never mistake your content for anyone else's, and I'm sure you have your share of influencers, like people you've kind of like pulled things from, but it's all combined in such a way that just never ceases to just like really like intrigue and entertain me. Like every time I watch one of your videos, whether it's a Give and Take pony video or like Hypocrite, it's always just so distinctly you, and it almost like I've been sitting here like as everyone was saying, like how do I even describe my admiration for what you do? It's like beyond words. Like the only thing is like you're really great with puns. Like your Twitter, everyone needs to follow your Twitter.
Yeah, your Twitter is a singular experience.
Twitter was made for you. Like the site can't be like sold or destroyed, because then I don't know where I'd get your puns.
And you can find him at the Hypocrite, right?
Yeah.
The underscore hypocrite, right? Or is it all one word?
I think it's just the Hypocrite.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Remember, just it's cool to see the things that you choose to make. Like the first thing that you did that got big was those like what was it like just the compilations, like the pony compilations where you just take one fucking word. Who would think to do this? To take one word from like every episode of the show, and every time it's said, just link them back to back to back, and like people love them. It's like I would just, that's so not something I would ever think to do. And it just, I think it really shows the creativity.
That's kind of my favorite thing about Hippo is exactly that I feel like you are almost innately just like so creative that it, like you always give yourself shit about like not writing enough or not being a good enough writer, but it's just the ideas that make it so unique that, like, you know, I feel like with Jesse or Nate, Jesse does have some videos that are more just like, I turned on the camera and some weird shit came out. But like with Jesse and Nate, everything has to be this very formulated, perfected production. And with you, it's just like the first thing that came to your mind was already a good idea, you know? And there's so many like give and take videos that I enjoy just as much as the Hypocrite videos, where it's just like, you went outside with a camera with your brother and like filmed you like running around in the grass, and then like did 3 layers of green screen of like weird shit happening. And in every single one of them, I'm just like, this is great. This is all I want. Yeah. This is all it needs to be. This is all a YouTube video needs to be.
You know who you remind me of, Gib, as a creator? You remind me of Hiromaru from Bakuman, who's like this totally bizarre guy who just decided to start doing manga and then was just like the best at it. And like he makes Otters 11,
hates himself,
and he's like, he hates himself and he hates it, but he's doing it to get that sweet Aiko puss. So, you know, keep on.
Your stuff is so deliciously weird. Like, when Digi posts a video, I know what it's gonna be. He's gonna talk about some anime. He might go pretty in depth. It might approach being insightful at some point. when Nate posts a video, it's like, okay, he's gonna make some jokes. He's gonna have some yucks and some fucks and some yeah. So, but then when I see like a new Hypocrite video, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck kind of weird ass shit's gonna be in this. Like your recent Mario RPG video, your fucking head was just sticking out of the ether for no fucking reason. It's like most people would like stand in front of a green screen or like have it off to the side, and your fucking head is just like coming out of like a green screen fucking vagina in the middle of the screen, like, how's it going? And then you didn't even mention it. You didn't even like draw attention to it. The whole video was like that.
I love that too, because Hippo's the best at like creative solutions, because I mean,
that
previously,
is a great solution to like, the problem of the green
creating solutions where no problem exists.
Well, the GRPJ.
Shut up, Nate.
The GRPJ in the beginning, I already thought it was a genius idea, because all he did was just like lay a green screen over a couch,
just on a fucking pile.
Yeah, just in like a pile, and just play video footage of it. So it's like, you would think when people think green screen, they think, you know, it's a green. It's in the background. You're standing in front of it like a teleprompter. You know, you're pointing stuff out. But no, Hippo's just in his house on a couch, and there just happens to be a green screen that's just playing the game. It's not even like lit correctly or anything, you know.
Hippo has like invented and mastered a new form of green screen martial arts that are so above what anyone
but the reason the new one happens is because my brother Victor was watching, and he was complaining that Hippo was sitting right in the middle of the green screen, so you couldn't really make out a lot of the footage in the Kingdom Hearts video. And I brought this up, and Hippo was like, I'll find a way to do it differently. And so now he suddenly is like just a face in a morph suit.
He's the fucking Zordon.
Yeah, he's
just
game Zordon talking video games.
That's it.
It's a genius
talked
solution.
about your animation work, which is just as fantastic.
Oh shit!
Oh, like the spiders, the fucking spiders.
Yeah.
And there's a fish at. Oh my god, a fish at my door.
Fish at the
such
door.
A beautiful.
Good.
They're both really great, and it's a shame that I know they must be really time intensive to make, because I wish I could see more of those. You know.
I was. Go ahead, Gib.
What? Hippo was.
I thought you were gonna say something. I was gonna say I've noticed in both of the two big animation things that you've done. There was actually Tallest Man, Fish at My Door, and and Spiders.
Man.
I always really love your use of like there's not much background noise, but then the sound effects are really distinct. I've loved your use of sound effects in your animations, and I mean.
Are they all Foley?
Yeah,
are they all Foley effects? Like, did you just record them yourself?
there's quite a few that I recorded myself.
Oh, cool.
I got most of them from freesound.org.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean the
I'm going to give you a
I've always found-
freesound.orgasm in the circle jerk. No, I'm saying, dog.
This
I am really appreciated.
This is highly
really appreciated.
This is highly specific, but there's one shot that really impressed me in. It's called Spiders Are People Too. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
In Spiders Are People Too, there's a shot from the ground looking up a power line, and the power pole line just like bends and sways before like the power lines get pulled taut and then snap. And the perspective and the motion on that pole looked fantastic.
There's a lot of great the overhead shot of the spider going into the house, and the one where it like when it strings itself up and it just kind of starts turning and turning back because it can't really control its momentum. There's a lot of adorable shit in that. And just in everything Hippo does, it's all about timing. It's all about perfect comedic timing and just hitting you with the most left field thing, and the fact that I think more so than anybody else, Hippo is willing to completely sacrifice everything for a joke. Where Hippo will have a video where he's like explaining a point and then just gets bored of explaining a point and would rather make a joke instead. And just that point is just gone. It's just gone.
And if you think about it, that kind of explains his life in general. He sacrificed everything to be a fucking joke.
Well, it's just bam! I mean, it's such a like subversive way of doing it where if you watch like a JonTron video, you know, like obviously Hippo comes from that camp of like video makers where you talk about a game and there's jokes, but those people, there's always this very clear sense of like there's the intro joke, you talk about the game a little, you make a joke, you show a little scene that's funny, haha, whoa, that scene's funny, you make a joke, you say a little analytical point, you make a joke. Hippo will like just wind his way through all of those. He doesn't feel the need to talk about every aspect of the game. Sometimes he makes a real analytical point, you know, which is something JonTron never did. You know, he's just a goofy, funny man about video games. But even, or like a, you know, AVGN, it's very much like joke analysis. Hippo will just say something really interesting, some point he obviously wanted to make that's the most interesting thing about the game. It's not encompassing the whole game, because proving whether the game is good or not is not really what the video is about. It's about just, here's an excuse to talk about this game, you know? It doesn't feel like I'm getting this comprehensive Matthew Matosis review, but it's also not just a joke. It's like, here's this game I love, here's the thing I love about it, and it's got graphics. What's the line in the Coyote versus Sheepdog one, where you said, like, it's got visuals or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I forgot exactly, but
I just laughed.
I just couldn't think of like usually you say it's got this and that and this.
Yeah,
and I couldn't think of it.
I laughed so hard at that because it's like anyone else would be like, you know, it's got this really unique visual style, blah blah blah, and I hate that because it's like they think that because they're doing a review, they have to at least touch on every point, even though they have nothing actually to say about the visuals. They just like, and also it's got great visuals. I'm like, yeah, I can see, I don't care, but you're just like, yeah, it's got a graphic, you know. I thought that was the funniest shit ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, for one, am deeply invested in the character arc of Hippo, and want to see if he ever gets his goddamn YouTube channel up and running. Because I always assume that that's what he's working towards, but they keep getting shut down by the hypocrite. He's like, no, that's not good enough. We gotta, you know.
He's been like a. You know the lists he's been doing. Mm-hmm. That's sort of his. I'm allowing him to put them on my channel for now for like exposure. But he does want to have his own
pay him
like,
an exposure.
Oh no! The corruption in the hypocrite organization has been exposed.
He doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
He doesn't have a union.
That poor creature.
I do let him live with me, though. You know,
yes.
Put a roof over his head.
I paid Colt Corona an exposure and it backfired because everyone likes him more than me now.
Yeah, that's true. Like, that's for sure. Speaking of which, I mean, anyone got any closing things to say about Hypocrite, or shall we?
I think it's amazing that so many of us have like this other alter ego character that we let live with us. You know, there's Hippo's got the Hippo, Jesse's got Colt Corona, Nate's got Action Giraffe, I've got Ben and Devu.
Those wacky fictional characters.
No! Yeah, it's true.
Devu is kind of a fictional character.
He's
like
not here right
the
now.
ultimate
I rest my
sidekick.
case.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
All right.
I was
well,
just
thank
Digi
you,
in a green
everybody.
screen suit the whole time.
Exactly. All right, Gib. We love you, buddy. All right, let's move on to Jess. Jess, I don't like anything about. Let's talk about Colt Corona. He's my favorite character on the internet. He's the cutest and the strongest, and I just hope that he conquered that
Cutest
demon
and
in the
the
furnace room.
Perfect descriptor.
I don't disagree with that at all either.
Yeah, right. Okay, here's something serious about Jesse. Your work ethic is like a truck that I fuck. It's real. It's great.
Serious.
I mean, just looking at the work that went into just putting aside even all the videos before it. Horseshoe Finale. I mean, of course, that is the seminal work of Jesse's career thus far. A year of fucking work, and not to mention the fucking years that went into sculpting the narrative for the payoff. I mean, it's incredible. It's you can't even describe it to people who haven't seen it.
And it was all for nothing because it can't be described to people.
Yeah, that's the worst thing about it.
Well, you'll see that's the thing. And Jesse, this is something that I think that you and I share, is that we are both completely retarded.
Yep.
And we make the things that we like, and we don't think nearly enough about things that will, be popular or whatever. I mean, maybe I'm selling you short, but I certainly feel that way.
I do think about what will be popular, but it just makes me angry and makes me want to regress back into what I like.
Right.
Well, Jesse, I mean, it might be true that the Horseshoe Finale is a niche work that will never find a mainstream audience, but to the people that it was relevant to, it was deeply meaningful and impactful. And I admire that a lot. That these people that are along for the ride with me, I'm gonna show them something.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
It's
Jesse,
that,
I think
that
the
old
thing
plight
that,
of the
blows
artist's
my mind
artist. Oh, sorry.
about you, Jesse, is the fact that you've taken, this. You're just like yourself. Like the way you interact with your fans and stuff. Like if anybody else tried to do it, it would just blow up in their faces. But you've sculpted your personality and the way you present yourself, that your fans love getting shit on by you, essentially. So
See,
you can
that's
do
the
whatever
thing,
the
that
fuck
Jesse
you
has-
want, and it
They've-
doesn't
they've
matter.
They've been well trained.
I
The way
admire
that the
a lot,
the
'cause
commenters
I
are
always have
broken,
to
and
sit
they
there
will
and try and think of how I'm going to appease the people who follow my stuff to a degree. Like I got to balance.
Yeah.
My entire
buy that
comment
line.
section is reek, and I'm fucking I'm Ramsey
Bolton, yeah.
They know their place.
It really is great, and that you can make the content you do and actually make pretty decent money.
Yeah,
that's
what I was gonna
for the
say.
longest time.
I get even though you're a niche creator, you make so much more money than me, for example, and that's why. It's because you deeply impact the people that are along for the ride with you, and you have something to
created
say.
Your own
And
cult following,
Yeah.
and they're milking
Yeah.
it for all it's worth, and it's fantastic.
So I mean, go ahead.
and I understand. I completely understand why your audience is so deeply invested in you.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I'm very impressed that, despite living in a really dirty, poopy, spider-infested basement, that you still managed to attract many winches from all over the place.
Yeah.
True. It's
Yeah.
very
Sex
true.
with you.
yeah.
It's true.
It's
Very
very
important
cool.
At present, Jesse is the most well laid of the whole PCP.
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes me mad. I'm mad about that.
That's offensive.
It's a bit of a burden. I'll be honest.
I got plans, baby. I'm cooking up some shit.
I don't know what that means at all.
I'm cooking up I've got a witch's brew brewing in the other room right now. I'm stirring in between.
You pour in a little potion and a woman's gonna come out? What the fuck are you working on over there?
Yeah,
That's
right.
It's definitely true that
He's gonna vape
Is that what you guys are doing? Are you practicing your vape foo until you can produce the perfect waifu out of the vape?
Yeah.
it's definitely true that any time more than 2 days goes by without a video from me, it's probably because I'm on some romantic sojourn.
Yeah. That's not an exaggeration. Literally, I'll be like, how come I haven't heard from Jesse in 2 days? And it's always because there's some girl at his house.
I said this about Digi, but it's also very true of Jesse in different ways, and it's that I've always liked really forceful guys because I was a pretty timid guy growing up, and I'm not really that way anymore, but I really respect your approach to life, even if we disagree on a lot of stuff. How you'll just, scream and cry and, pee yourself about things that set you off even to the slightest degree. It's just a lack of, it's a double-edged sword of like a lack of compromise comes with shit, being tough a lot of the time, but it's just so cool. It's so cool to fight
Jesse's
the ocean,
uncompromising
to no avail.
nature is definitely remarkable, and
My uncompromising emotional instability is an inspiration to all.
Just to be really like the story about you just punching the shit out of that kid in the movie theater. That's like the coolest thing. I wish that
I've told
I had done
everyone I know that story. Like it's, and everyone comes away with yeah, awesome, what a cool guy.
Yeah.
I still haven't
Like,
told the Halloween story from this year at Cody's butt chugger ball.
Oh shit!
But
should we do that on this podcast?
let's just say I turned it into a butt chugger brawl. But,
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know this one.
Yeah.
I won't reveal it just yet. It's still,
it was a ballroom blitz for sure.
I'm
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been influenced a lot by your videos that you've made. At first, I didn't like the idea that you knew that you were influencing people, because like it was an aversion to it. Like, I don't want this guy to tell me the truth, but it was true. Like, you were really cool, and I liked it, and I tried doing stuff, and I think
my ultimate downfall. No one wants to hear the truth.
Yeah, I feel like that's literally, there's people like clicking on Jesse's videos and saying, I don't want this guy to tell me the truth. Click away.
It's really how I think a lot of people feel, but I got over it because I'm a cool guy.
It's tough for some people to swallow that red pill,
Yeah.
Because like, even though you're very abrasive, a lot of the time you're really correct on a lot of things, and
Don't I
even
know
if
it.
you're not, I just love your It's a combination of like your confidence and your emotional connection to things. Like you embrace your emotionalness, and but you're also
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Jesse, your genuine,
you're cool.
Your genuine enthusiasm about things is
the
is an
genuineness.
inspiration to me, who struggles to feel anything at all.
I actually feel exactly what Ben's saying. Like I've been so inspired by that first time we all met at BronyCon, and I've told this story before that Jesse was like saying how he cried on the plane thinking about Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
And like. Yeah. Because for me, it was such a like, man, when was the last time I just cried about a thing being so good, And so I've kind of taught myself more after hearing about that to, like, when I see something that legitimately makes me feel something, to like try and embrace that feeling as much as possible, and like try to really feel it and convey that feeling,
I would consider myself a pretty lazy person my whole life, up until a few years ago when I found something that I actually, it's kind of a cheat because I just enjoy making videos, so I didn't even really earn like the hard work that I'm willing to put into it. But the whole reason that I continued doing stuff was because of seeing, we saw that like me and Ben saw that Digi was successful doing this stuff. But even more so, like, the content I wanted to make was stuff like Jesse's content, and it's been a big inspiration to the kind of stuff that I've been trying to make. Specifically, the way that you are able to flip, and like the best comedies can do this between hilarious and extremely heartfelt, like the other guys were saying, like the Hulk Hogan nigger video, just like I said nigger, what, and then it turns into this whole
brother
thing.
Nigger, fucking brother.
It's just this whole thing, but like the way that it's like a swirling mass of chaos, and then it all spirals into one point, and then you get this like focused thing that it was all leading up to. Like, that's the sort of thing that I have always tried to emulate.
The delicate
and
balance, the delicate balance of comedy and pathos, and is something that I value a lot in art. I think that's important.
It's kind of my favorite thing. It's kind of my favorite thing ever. And the musical stuff that you've put into your videos, I think that's like my favorite thing to do.
Let's talk about Jesse's raps.
Yeah.
Jesse,
Yes.
I think your raps might be some of my favorite content that you make, and I like a lot of your stuff, so that's really saying something. Yeah! Your fucking lyrics are sometimes genius. I said it. Sometimes your lyrics are genius.
The dandy rap to this day is something that I find inspiring, that a friend of mine could make, and makes me think that maybe I could do something like that too. I mean, when I was making my my keg standard rap thing, or it was a Big Mac rap, which turned out it wasn't great or anything, but I was inspired by that because I thought, it was so fucking good. I want to make things like that.
Yeah. He packs so many bright ideas into his thought balloons that his metaphorical spark lights the room. When he expresses himself, he impresses you whelps, and he don't need help, so why the fuck should you?
Is that a Jesse lyric?
That's Get Action.
That is a Jesse lyric.
I don't even know where to start, and I'm not going to go into as much detail as I could because we'd be here all day. Jesse is I'm going to say outright my favorite artist of all time, and also probably my best friend. So I'm coming from a place of extreme bias that there's nothing that I've ever connected with more than Jesse's stuff. And I mean, it's kind of the basis of all of this. We formed as the Horseshoe Crew. We formed around because he was the Horseshoe King. We were all like, we kind of bonded over mutual respect for Jesse's work. Me and Jesse were already friends, and then we saw these other people, and like, to me it was like the mark of someone being cool was that they appreciated Jesse's stuff.
The mark of the horseshoe appeared on their body.
Right.
And they knew it was time.
It's like the brand
to
of
coalesce.
sacrifice in Berserk. You knew that you were fucked once that shit.
Like
was
I was
there.
thinking
like
more
the
like the
dark
Tanakh,
sign.
the Tanakh and the EOSD.
Yeah.
We have like each of us has part of the Horseshoe Crew on our ass. So wait, isn't this just actually what cutie marks were? Isn't this the cutie mark chronicles?
Oh yeah!
Oh my god!
Oh my, yeah, wait, never mind. I was going to say, oh my god, Tenacious D was cutie marks, and I remembered that that's been pointed out 1,000 times back in the Brody days. Anyway, yeah.
First time I've heard it. I'm
for
glad to
me,
learn.
It was my sonic rain boom that gave everyone here their
Oh
cutie
my
marks.
god!
like, Jesse represents everything that especially that I was trying to do before, I'm like a more cleaned up, presentable version, like my stuff is very... It's very like accessible and digestible, and Jesse's isn't. But the stuff he expresses is all stuff that I'm like, man, if only I could do. If I had his particular set of talents, this is exactly what I'd want to say. Everything Jesse says is something that I'm like, why didn't I say that? Why couldn't I be the one to do that video? And there's so much I've taken from him in terms of like, God, everything to do with my vlogging is because of Jesse, essentially. With few exceptions of like little things I've taken from other people. My rapping, heavily inspired by Jesse. A lot of it is just seeing him as one of the only people I see is better than me, in like a general sense. Like, Nate's a better editor than me, Hippo's a better, comedian, and Ben's obviously a vastly better artist. But like, when I think of myself in terms of like my net quality, like Jesse's one of the only people who I'm like, I can definitively say he has a better body of work than me. Like I get more value out of watching all of his content than I would out of watching all of my own content. And so I see it as like, I have to get that good. I have to one day be able to say, I've made as many good videos as Jesse, or I've made as many good raps as Jesse. And that day will never come because he's still making shit. He'd have to die for me to be able to pass him. Because I keep getting better, but he also keeps getting better. Where, and we have, now we also, we influence one another, where a lot of the way that we will put raps together, it kind of sequences into each other. We make reference to each other. You can't separate our artistic careers at this point. I mean, you could, but like if for the future, but like if you looked at the individual work we're doing, so much of it is connected. I mean, now we're doing like the plebe and the weeb, which is like, this amalgam of things me and Jesse are interested in and how our chemistry works.
You know what's going to be interesting? When all the people who just know about you, Digi, realize later on how much of an influence Jesse was, and then go back and look at all his shit and are like, oh my god, this is madness.
Yeah. I mean...
in a good way, obviously. And all the positive influence.
It was a very gratifying experience at RadCon because of the fact that we've all hung out twice before at BronyCon in the past. We all met at the BronyCon in 2014 and 15. We all met, and we all got to hang out, and it was a very gratifying experience to realize, everyone's exactly as cool as I thought they were, if not cooler.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, these guys really are cool guys. I really do want to hang out with them. I really do want to be friends with this group of people and to make this whole, everyone, move into one place kind of thing happen. But it was at RadCon where it was especially that we just got to actually hang out. And me and Jesse had never really gotten to just hang out before after all these years of doing podcasts together and talking all the time and stuff. And then when me and Jesse hung out, I was like, yeah, I'm exactly as good a friend with Jesse in person as I am online. There was no awkwardness about hanging out with Jesse, when we were going to cookout or something together. And it's like, this feels like if we did live in the same place, we'd hang out all the time. And I was like, I got to get Jesse down here, goddamn. Because all my other friends, all my offline friends are gone. They've all abandoned me. So I need Jesse to be my best friend.
It's time to move in some replacements.
I'm just a lift bro.
I've got Ben, and he's pretty good. But I feel like I can step up one.
I know I'm inadequate, Digi. It's fine.
Inadequate.
Ben is the rebound for Digi.
No. I'm a lifting buddy. Something? We're lifting buddies. That is our relationship.
Buddies. Yeah. I mean, we hang out a lot more than just to lift, but...
Fuck shit.
I got one quantifiable thing that I like about you, Jesse, is I really like your voice. And I love how many cool voices you can do. Even though some of them sound kind of similar, they're always great.
I love all the characters.
What do you mean they all sound similar? Yeah, we're totally different.
Is that Raphael and is that Donnie and Colt arguing back and forth? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I can't
I could tell.
The more you bring
up,
that
they sound too similar. It's just that you can go from one to the other really smoothly.
Yeah.
Well, I happen to like very much how Jesse's characters all kind of sound like the exact same guy. I enjoy that, from a artistic perspective.
It's sort of like the voices, like Colt Corona and Donatello exist on the same octave, but there's a little bit more of an oscillation between them. I don't know what the word oscillation means, but I think...
You just throw in some rapey vibes for Donnie, and basically you got it, yeah.
I can't even, I'm scared to open the Pandora's box of saying, specific things, because, there's so many little, just the fact that Jesse invents memes that I will then use forever until
Chicken and tea!
Yeah, dude, we all, walk around screaming that now. Like me and Devu, every time I go in the kitchen, because Devu only eats chicken, he just fries himself chicken every day, and I come in.
He drinks tea as well.
Yeah, and he eats chicken and tea every day, and I always come in and I go, chicken and tea!
It's ironic.
Chicken and tea!
And I'm probably the guy who complains about memes the most in the world, but I'm also a meme machine.
No. When you make your own memes, it's a totally different thing.
Right.
It's not the same as regurgitating other memes, which we all do
we have
from you.
Inside jokes and we have Twitter accounts doesn't mean we're making memes.
Endless Jest is an inside joke.
That's the truth of the matter. A big one for me is the Babadook stuff, where it's just Jesse made this Bleach review 2 years ago, where he just decided to call all of the bad guys Babadooks, anything that's there's Babadooks and Skelly Man and Spooky Dukes, and then he just kept saying it, and eventually now in my mind, scary things are just called Babadooks. That's just how it is. That's the world I live in.
That was a fascinating thing for me. I gotta come clean. I had no fucking idea what a Babadook was for a year and a half. And I pretended that I did. I pretended that I understood what the fuck everyone was talking about. It took me until Jesse talked. He watched the fuck, what was it?
movie.
I think
YMS
it was
review?
Krampus.
Or
I thought it was
Krampus.
like in
Krampus.
Krampus. Whatever. In Krampus, I think Jesse like described what a Babadook was. Like he talked about it at some point, and then I was like, oh, okay, I can now pretend that I always knew what this was.
I don't
But no.
I don't
But no.
understand the confusion. I mean, it's for there's a movie called Babadook, and it's about a scary ghost.
I didn't know that. I had no
There's a
idea.
book
And I
called
chose
Babadook.
not to investigate.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean,
Cool.
Babadook
I'm just saying,
Spook.
like, Jesse will do that thing where he brings up something obscure, and, you know, a lot of the time it'll seem like something he made up.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that a lot. And then to learn that it's, you know, it was based on something else is a whole other cool
Ironically,
experience.
though, in the movie Babadook, the Babadook is really more of a dookie spook than a Babadook.
Yeah. Well, what do you know?
Babadook Spook is one of my favorite Jesse characters, incidentally.
Yeah, my brother really likes that one.
Babadook Spook is he's like the lowest possible octave of the Cult Corona
Yeah.
Donatello voice.
Of course.
He's my favorite guy, and in my head he also lives. Like, you know, Jesse's always saying how like all the characters like exist and have their own lives inside his head. I feel like I adopted Babadook Spook from Jesse, and he is a part of me now as well.
He lives.
You know,
Babadook lives today.
I'm sure if Devu were here, he'd say he'd talk about how like the environment of your basement is such a rich character in of
Yeah,
itself.
it is.
And it's filled with all these kooky characters and all these things that have taken place there. And that is one pretty awesome consequence of doing all your filming in a space like that.
Yeah.
It's dope.
I will just also say that Jesse is prolific as shit, and if you follow all his channels, new Jesse content is coming out all the fucking time.
It is pretty insane.
It is insane.
And you know what? Here's one last thing I have to say about it. It was just, I remember when Ben got me into Pony in like 2013. I didn't believe him that it was good. I watched it and found that I did enjoy it very much. And then he also was the one who showed me all of you guys, which consequently is kind of what got me into YouTube in the first place. Ben just like talking about like these Pony review guys. That's when I really got into it. Yeah, and I remember so clearly Ben saying like, dude, you've got to check out this fucking like Crystal Empire review by this guy, like the Footwear Man. It's fucking insane. You won't know what the fuck is happening. Go watch it. And I did. And I remember like it was fucking yesterday, Colt crawling out of that fucking Rarity Funhouse, like the fucking nightmare from my darkest dreams. And like
That's
and like
a great
after,
video.
that's when I think that was the moment I realized, like, holy shit, like, these videos don't have to be a bunch of bullshit like this guy Digibro's doing. Fuck that guy. How about this Endless Jess guy? This guy knows what's up. You know, it was a paradigm shift.
I really liked that video. I did discover it before I really got into the whole footwear and horseshoes.
I think that was my entry point to the footwear
like,
universe.
Yeah.
I want to throw in.
I found it isolated.
I want to throw in one more specific thing, just because this is something that Jesse also says is his favorite thing about himself, and I also really appreciate it, is the physicality of the videos.
Oh yeah,
because in that Cult Corona video, and this is another one that like I took as an influence, and I've like trained myself because I was afraid to do this before. That Jesse comes out of that tent, downs a whole bottle of Corona in one go. He drinks an entire bottle of Corona and then just smashes it on the floor. He, in real life, did that. It's not a sound effect. He threw the bottle on the ground and it smashes to fucking pieces. I've sampled it in a song before. And, like, that level of just willingness to break shit and, like, make a mess and, you know, and make videos that you have to clean up after yourself afterwards, you know. Jesse throws himself through a table in one video.
Yeah.
He, you know, just breaks a table by jumping on it. You know, several times, actually. I think in the Cool Cat one, there's a part where you, like, fall through something. He would knock bottles of beer all over the place, you know, constantly dropping and breaking stuff. And, like, I was always afraid to do something like that, to, like, damage something. And then, like, the Plebe and the Weeb finale of episode 3 would not have happened if not for that influence. You know, the willingness to, like, say, let's fucking destroy the set. You know, and that's, like, that's all my stuff that's getting thrown around there.
And I wanted to go so much farther with that, but I was stopped.
It felt a little
I wanted
restrained.
to put a
Next time,
sword through the
let's some
fucking
fake
wall.
stuff that you're willing to fucking
I
wreck.
wanted to knock those walls down. I wanted to put like I wanted to jump through them and have like an outline, like in a Looney Tune, like of my body going through the wall.
Well, I mean, the plan was that the most
sort of
over-the-top thing would be lighting a poster on fire, and that would have felt pretty extreme, but the fucking thing wouldn't light. But I, like, even then, like, I mean, fucking wine got on everything, and I was like, this is like my actual collection that we've just soaked in all this shit, and I was like, but it was all worth it, because having those things is not nearly worth as much as having made that video with that crazy ass ending, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I really admire that willingness to go all out and just break something, including yourself, for the sake of a joke.
You know, my upraising was very much to like never, you know, fuck up shit,
Yeah,
never
same
break
here.
anything, never do anything bad. And see guys like Jesse or like Red Letter Media who just like trash shit.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And
Well,
that's why I would really love. I wish I could go back and watch the progression of Jesse's life. I want to study what led him to be this
Wrestling.
man who would, you know, do
It's
these
all
things.
wrestling.
I want to know. I want to know.
Anyone, if there's any element of Jesse's videos you don't understand, watch like 3 wrestling promos, and it all makes sense.
I
Like
remember,
every
I didn't
single
know
thing
the
I
concept of kayfabe until Jesse's videos, and then I read the
Yeah.
wiki article and started digging into him. Like, I get so much more of Jesse's like
Yeah.
angle now.
It's all just a combination of like professional wrestling, deep-seated childhood trauma, and a predilection towards violence. Those are the ingredients for the perfect little me.
Yeah, and God, another thing to give you
Corona's
credit
chemical
for
act.
is
Wait, hang on. Hippo's been trying to say something
sorry.
for a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's a difference between the Red Letter Media people and what Jesse does, because Red Letter Media, they make props that they can destroy.
Yeah.
And Jesse fucks up his actual living space, and he doesn't always clean it up.
Yeah.
So it's even more admirable.
I mean,
like if he smashes a bottle, it's just there for like weeks, and it's
There's
cool.
fucking glass, and you walk around without
I
my
mean-
shoes and socks, and a year later it goes way deep in your foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A huge
It's a
part
whole-
of the horseshoe finale, like behind the scenes, was that Jesse had ruined his whole room for the sake of it, and he couldn't clean it up until it was done. So for 6 months, he lived in like just absolute squalor.
Remember that shot from Rarities in Manhattan or whatever fucking one, where he puts on the fedora, lies back in his trash, and just basks in it, and
Yeah.
just loves the life he's living.
It's fucking
God, I
great.
love that shot. It's wonderful.
But yeah, another
I
thing.
could never do stuff like
Just
that.
the amount of stuff Jesse's gotten me into, like the panel cast. I'm now reading comics, wrestling podcasts. Now I, have wrestling. I mean, fucking Broken
We've all
Matt.
developed kind of an interest in wrestling now. Yeah, Broken Matt.
I've never watched any wrestling my whole life until Jesse's stuff, and it really was so eye-opening when he started the wrestling podcast that like every little thing I hadn't understood about Jesse's videos all made sense as soon as I learned what wrestling was and how it works and how the people act, and I was like, oh, that's why he does it that way, and and now wrestling is cool to me, and Broken Matt Saga is like my favorite thing that's happened all year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wonder if you do like another top 10 videos of the year, the whole Broken Matt saga would go on there.
Maybe. Well, I mean, the last one was
they are videos.
particularly analysis videos, but maybe. Yeah, it's enough of Jesse.
Well, guys, gosh,
Goofy, get out of here.
that's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's tough to respond.
All right, well now it's
Well,
All right,
me.
Nate, it's
Yeah, next
your
is
turn.
me.
Who wants to start us off?
Wait,
Nate?
what are we doing? I just came back. What are we doing?
We're
about
talking
to do
about
Nate.
Nate.
Starting Nate.
I'll
Starting
say
Nate.
something about Nate. Nate,
Okay.
of all of us, you are the most not fat.
That's
and-
very true.
And that, and that
It's true.
And it pains
It's
me to
true.
say because it's such an embittered jealousy and envy deep inside me.
You are a handsome boy, and it makes me mad.
I do take a lot of
Aw.
inspiration in the fact that Nate actually takes care of himself and looks
Yeah.
like a human.
I think it's actually a huge influence on the whole rest of the group, because I don't think if we were a group of all fat schlubby guys, none of us would try to change. Like, we'd all see it as, well, everyone else in the crew is. But because Nate is there, said it, like, the first time I met him, I was like, fuck, why am I not like, like, think about it. Like, I mean, we all do the same job. We're all YouTubers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if Nate, who, by the way, currently in school and holding a full-time job and making videos, is
Yeah,
still
true.
able to find time
Just
to
elect
work
this guy
out his
president
body.
already.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Just elect him president. He's got it all
Yeah,
figured
write me
out.
in.
I'll
Write
write
me in
in
on
best guy
Tuesdays.
ever for president. Fuck yeah, I will.
He's like the Paul McCartney of the group.
Oh,
you know?
yes, that's
He's
my
the-
favorite guy. Yes.
The proactive one, the one that tries to get all the others
Yes.
to be more.
And I'm the John Lennon who
organized
beats his
and
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nate, I like I know we haven't even started talking about your actual creative output, but like as a person, I mean, okay, PCP is entirely Nate's idea and his child,
True.
and he
Yep,
built it.
yep.
And Nate has the most like Nate is the most adult person out of us. He is
Yeah,
the one who,
definitely.
when all of us are fucking crying about, I don't want to, I don't know how to set up a hotel. I don't, how are we gonna,
yeah.
like you know, like BrodyCon's coming and Nate's like, all right, guys, we got to get a hotel. And we're like, I don't know how to do that. You fucking call them. You
That's
pick up a
right.
phone and you dial
He
seven
set-
buttons and you're done.
He set
and
that
Nate,
whole thing up, didn't he?
he's
Yep,
done it every
yep,
time.
yep.
Every time anything happens, we all just defer to Nate because he's allowed us to
like how-
become even more infantilized because he,
I
God,
like how
no.
we all have such a specialized role that if one of us were gone, it would all fall apart immediately.
it's like the community roles. Like one
Yeah.
leaves and everything goes to shit. You know, it's a delicate balance.
Yeah, Nate.
Yeah.
Nate organizes things, keeps things in check. He's the only one who actually gets people like on the fucking show every week. You know, sets the times,
Yeah, yeah.
gives a shit, gets the video. I mean, I'm the one who edits all the fucking things and uploads them. But Nate made the channel in the first place and cared enough when all of us were like, no one's gonna watch our podcast. And Nate's like, well, I want to do a thing. You know, we've had the idea. Let's follow through. Yeah, good follow through. I mean, who else would actually
great.
spend 6 months editing a video and not give up on it, other than Jesse, I guess?
Yeah.
Because for me, if I work on one project for more than a month, it's fucking dead. It's not going to be
Your
finished.
production value, I don't know how you do it. Like, there are a lot of things you do in your videos. I was like, I don't even know how he does that in Vegas. Like, how
Yeah.
the
There's
fuck
this word that starts with an A coming to my mind. I just don't know. I can't
Yeah.
read it. I can't see it.
Artist.
Well, one thing that
Yes.
I've that I like particularly impressed with you by is that you've learned basically all of your stuff since you started the
Right.
pony stuff.
Right.
Like all of your skill
Nate
has
had-
nothing to do with any training.
Nate
You
had
just
never touched.
figured it
Nate
out.
had never edited a video before
Yeah.
T-Bab.
Let's
He
be
learned it
perfectly
all as he
clear.
went.
Everyone in our audience probably agrees that Nate has the flashiest editing out of all of us. And Nate has been making and editing videos for the least time of everyone in this group. And he taught himself all of that. All of us are self-taught, but Nate's doing the best editing, and he's been doing it the least time. Keep that in mind, everybody.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
and he has like the most outside responsibility.
Yeah, while doing everything else in the world.
I don't.
I watched the podcast live when it starts off, and you're like, you read the chapter name, and then the screen bulges out and explodes, and it says live. And I got so fucking hype because I went, how did you do that? I don't know. I don't know how to make the screen bulge and explode. You know, I could probably think of 1,000 uses for that, but I have no idea how you did it.
Researching effects. I
He
do a lot
just
of
yelled
effects
so
researching.
hard that it actually exploded.
I do yell a lot.
Speaking of yelling, I do like the fact that you have a very like powerful voice
Yes.
in that you can do all that sort of stuff. You've got a great singing voice as well.
Your delivery
And your voice acting
in
is
all your
very
videos
good.
Is, like, I remember watching the Gurren Lagann video, and just the way like some of the lines were delivered, like, was just perfectly done. Like, the part where you're in the beginning, it's like,
Responsibility.
you don't
Yeah,
love it enough. And, like,
Nate,
the reverb you put on it, just like it's like perfectly punctuates that statement and like makes it so much more powerful.
Yeah, Nate, you in all your videos and all your content, you commit fully to every joke, right? Like every line you deliver, you just completely follow through with it as far as possible. I'm also all right. So my greatest praise of you, Nate, is also going to be my greatest criticism. The best things you've ever done are they have, like what I was saying with Jesse, that blend of comedy and pathos. The character of Best Guy Ever is so steeped in that deliciously, and I love it so much. But there hasn't been enough of it and I want
Yeah.
to see the
What
I
Ben
want
is
to
saying
experience
is-
the full fucking best guy
Yeah.
ever story, because I know I have insider information about stuff, and I want it realized so much.
Just so you know, folks, Ben helped me film not one but 2 scenes that are for upcoming videos, like over a year ago
just,
now.
Like 2 years. Not just scenes, but like whole fucking things. Like we spent like entire days filming.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I want those
It's coming.
videos.
It's coming.
I'm
If
sorry.
Devu
I'm
was here,
sorry. But it makes
Devu
me
would say
so mad.
that
I want
you
it.
are. Devu has repeatedly described you as the best hype man on YouTube.
Yes.
That you are more capable of instantly and intensely generating hype for a thing. I mean,
Very true.
it's Gurren Lagann time, and then your face freezes and the whole universe
dude.
shows up on screen.
It
You
was
know?
that second where I was like, I'm in for a fucking trip here. It's
Yeah.
gonna be great.
that looked amazing. Yeah,
Because
your
honestly,
visual.
when you started Best Guy Ever, I was like, I know Nate can talk really well. Like I've watched like all of the T-Bap stuff, but it's been Ben who's been doing a lot of the visuals. So I had no idea how your videos were going to look. I knew you were going to say a bunch of great shit, but I had no idea how they're going to look. And it was that frame, and I was like, oh my god, what? Where has this been?
Yeah.
Well, let's just say I had a monkey off my back at long last.
What the fuck?
And once
Christ.
again, that's a technique I don't know how to do. I can kind of imagine how it would happen. The level of effort that would go into what I'm thinking you had to do makes my stomach churn and makes me want to die.
Yeah.
I could probably like find like tutorials on how to do the sort of things you do. I would just never. I would always try to look for a shortcut first.
All the moving,
because I don't want to have to do all that
all
work.
the moving parts and transitions all happening together and at the same time in like an intricate web of stuff, of shit going on in the screen. When his face, I don't know how many different things are happening when you say it's Gurren Lagann time and your face goes and the title comes out and the galaxies
I mean,
happen.
I freeze the frame.
Yeah.
I had to, so I paused the video. I had to then mask out the eyes because two independently animated swirls appear behind each eye.
Right.
The universe has to fade in. The words have to appear in time with the music in the background.
Yeah.
All these things are happening just for that one.
And it
shot.
has to come out of your mouth, so like.
And
the
I had
top
to
of your
animate
lip
it
maybe
and
was
mask it
another
properly
layer.
so it's coming out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you
The
have
whole
20 more
is-
minutes to go after that.
Yes, and let's
Well, I have
make that
38
line,
minutes.
that word clear. Animated. That is an animation that's happening there. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very impressive visual stuff. I wish it came out twice as frequently, or 3 times or
Yeah.
4 times as frequently.
And it's not even just that the editing is good. It's that you spent so long writing and researching, and with your Ghost in the Shell video, you've been researching so much to get it absolutely perfect.
It's true. It's true.
It's like you really go like, you make it worth the time. I think.
You know,
Well,
spend
there's
on it.
nothing's worth the amount of time it takes.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
it's a
tempted
really
to
good
disagree with
video.
that.
Like nobody could make a video that good.
I would challenge anyone in the world to make about the topic that the Gurren Lagann one was about, to do any better. And
No one
because like
would.
nobody else
Yeah, I
had their
agree with
life
that.
like defined by Gurren Lagann the way I mean, actually, there's a lot of guys out there and girls, everybody who love Gurren Lagann, but it's a particular sort of
It's
thing
close to your
happening
heart.
Yeah. Plus, like, my particular love of, like, sci-fi stuff, like, that's, like, kind of the main thing. It's, like, even more important. Like, even the video I say, like, yeah, like, Kamina is, like, my favorite character ever, and yet he's not even my favorite thing about Gurren Lagann. It's, like... It's
I mean, I'm just gonna say, I think Gurren Lagann Part 1 is one of the greatest YouTube videos ever made.
Yeah.
It's both the concept and the execution of the concept are perfect.
Flawless.
It's the best possible idea because it's. I mean, I assume that on some level it's based on the meme of the 4 guys watching Gurren Lagann, right? Like,
That's not a Gurren Lagann specific meme.
well, no, but
no,
it was popularized partly with Gurren Lagann.
yeah.
that probably was part of the thought process.
Right.
Yeah,
But it's something that's kind of like you took something that's kind of tied to the series already, but then totally made it your own and then executed it so fucking like because when I watched that I was like, okay, this had to be a bunch of individual shots on a green screen. and there's so many photos, and they're all taken perfectly. Like, they're all good photos, but your poses and your emotions, like, it's you know, it's acting. You have to show those feelings. I
like,
can't
each
do
photo
that.
That's
I would.
there probably was taken more than once to get it looking the way you wanted it to.
Well, here's a little insider info. The way I did that was I just filmed myself and then just did a bunch of poses and then
I thought that was
freeze
probably
frame on the appropriate
probably
thing.
the
So I
case.
was easy to get a whole
Okay.
bunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, I say easy, but it took me like 2 fucking days. To just-
and I literally could not do that, like, because I can't emote that well. I can't act on screen, and
It was
you make
hard. I thought that my faces were like ridiculous looking, but actually they were like more subdued than I expected them to look. It was crazy.
that's how acting is. You have to like really overexert it because the human face doesn't actually go that crazy, you know. But like, when I was watching it, and the other thing is that it had to be you because you start this video off making yourself, you did all this stuff like costuming to make yourself look shitty, and then reveal yourself to be this like this awesome cool Adonis in this skin tight fucking Gurren Lagann shirt, you know, screaming and holding drills and wearing sunglasses, and it's like this weird trick that you pull on the audience to make us think that you're some gross nerd, you know. I showed that when that video first came out, I showed it to my friend Ghost Lightning, and he was like, you know, I started this off and I thought it was going to be total shit, and by the end it was the greatest thing ever, you know. And I was like, that's exactly what he was going for. Like, it's it's perfectly done.
He really is the best guy.
You did it! If you say that shit to me, you're getting banned. Just letting you know.
That was to the commenters. I think you were being
no, it was to
completely
you
serious.
guys. You're getting fucking banned from the PCP.
Anybody else want to suck Nate's dick more?
He really is the Procrastinators podcast.
You know, I feel that the Procrastinators podcast is a fitting name for something that that Mage came up with, actually.
Did she?
She was the one who
She
changed
came
the
up
name
with
of the other chat.
Procrastinators.
When we were on
name.
Skype, she changed it to the Procrastinators like years ago. What was that, like 2
Oh
maybe
yeah,
2 fucking years ago?
we were. I forgot that the reason we named it that is just that the chat was already called that.
Right.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, we would change the name all the time. I remember.
Oh right, yeah,
I
we
used
did.
to
And then
fuck
one
with
time
it.
we changed it to the Procrastinators, and then later, when we were deciding on like a non-pony group name, we just decided on that
Yep.
because it was there.
But it feels
job, mate.
particularly apt to me because I was very guilty of that. It's funny, it's entirely true that like all my video stuff started with the pony stuff, just fucking doing whatever. But like up to that point, I felt pretty down on myself as a person because I mean at this point in my life, I'm like living at home, had failed to get my degree while all my friends had. And in fact, I should be getting it next month is when I'll be finally
God.
finishing my fucking school.
Thank
it's
God.
done, guys. It's
can't-
fucking gonna be done.
I can't believe it. I'm proud of you, Nate.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
Well, I'm glad, but it's funny that this whole praising thing. I hate myself, and
Okay.
I see all I see all the huge problems I did. I'm just gonna pretend that you guys represented me accurately and fully. And we
fuck
can
off.
move
We
on.
did. Eat a dick, you
Yeah.
bastard.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's move on.
We could follow this up with the airing of grievances.
No,
that's
no.
a great
Let's record that and then never release it.
Because we will all not be speaking to each other anymore. After
Yes,
this.
that's
The
true.
procrastinators will end. It'll be the last episode, the big last episode, years from now, when we all hate each other,
yeah.
we're all sick of it, like, let's do it. I'm done with PCP. We're gonna end it with a big finale of everything we hate about each other. The last thing ever released in life.
Okay.
When
Well,
when I wasn't speaking to anyone for 2 months over the summer, I came up with Jesse's like 5-way revenge, and I haven't enacted it yet. But it is a real plan, and I have I have sections for each of you within it, and I just
Oh my God.
I had a change of heart, and you were all spared from it at the last minute, but it still exists
I want
in a
this.
vault somewhere.
It's like,
I
like
kinda want
Batman
it
has his
too.
contingency plan for the Justice League. JC has
Exactly.
his-
Yeah,
I believe
if we
it.
ever step out of line, we're fucked.
I have no doubt that it actually is real and exists.
I had
don't
I had
know.
the perfect contingency vengeance for each and every one a few.
I want to see it so
I only
bad.
pray, Jesse, that you had the foresight to prepare one for yourself as well. Only pray.
That was the final part of the revenge.
Yes.
I was like the guy in Seven. Like the last part of it is
Yeah. Okay.
I was
Let's
thinking
move
like
on.
the Count of Monte Cristo. Like you come back after 7
Oh,
years
yeah,
after we
yeah.
let you take
Yeah.
the fall for something we all did, and then you have to get revenge on all of us and like fuck all our girlfriends and daughters and shit.
We can only hope for a future that bright. Okay, let's move on to our final guy here, Tom Oliver. Now, Tom,
Yeah.
Brony Curious, my friend.
I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Me neither.
So you started YouTube like at the same time as Digi, is that correct, or did you come later? I'm just
came
curious
first.
about that. Was he first? Okay.
Maybe?
It was
I
like
don't even
Paleo
know.
started and then you, right?
It was
It was around the same time.
It
I
was
think.
around the beginning because I started because Paleo basically told me to do it because I was talking his ear off about all this like gay horse shit, and he was like, "You should just make a video. People would care about this more than me." And I'm just like, "Yeah, but I don't make videos." Like, yeah, but just do it. So I did, and then it kind of became a thing. And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm doing this now."
And
that's-
sorry, I was gonna just ask. And so, what were you doing right before that? And this just is to where I want to start talking about you. Like if Paleo started you to do that, what was your role before that?
I
Because
was
I just don't know.
mostly focusing on drawing. Like that's kind of like what I went to school for and what I kind of envisioned myself doing. I never really envisioned myself being a YouTuber.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
kind of happened by accident. And now
Yeah.
that I've started, I can't really let it go, even though there are other things I want to do too. So right now it's just like, let's try and do all of the things. And that's still
Right.
a work in progress.
This
I
is
got
not the Tommy
something to
Oliver
say.
interview. It's
Right,
the
no, okay. Well, what I was just leading into was I was curious about that because I was thinking before about all the stuff that you've done and about how awesome it is, even though it's just like I don't think about it that often. But like when I think back to it, you made like a fucking Trixie comic, like a children's book that you just made.
Wait, no, it was
Scootaloo
Rainbow Dash
book.
and Scootaloo. It wasn't
Oh,
Trixie.
Scootaloo,
I
right?
did,
my
I did a
mistake.
Trixie comic as well. It was an issue
did the tr-
1, and I never
right.
did the rest of them. There were supposed to be 6, and I did one of them.
Yeah.
Right. But like right now, you run your tech channel, and it also happened that you were a major collaborator on like possibly my favorite YouTube video of all time, which is Anthony C's a Candlelight Wedding review thing, and it's just looking at your body of work. It's amazing that you did all this shit. That like all these different things, you pulled from the various things that you've done over your life. And like I've always been wanting to know more about. I wanted to read your children's book. I never got around to it.
It's on
After this,
DeviantArt.
give me that shit.
I've read it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good.
it's still there.
It's extensive. There's.
I want to
it's
ask
a
you
big
questions
fucking
about
thing.
that, but let's do it later.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, wait. I
The
want to
Tommy
say.
Oliver interview will come. The interview
Yeah.
series will be concluded one day.
I've got something
Okay.
to say. It needs to be stated that the branding and the thumbnails on Rebel Pixels are the greatest I've ever seen in any
Yeah.
YouTube channel in history. They're beautiful and astounding, and every time I look at them, I get a big penis boner.
Yeah.
They are pro level shit.
Yeah, the professional presentation is good, is great, and it's consistent on especially on Rebel Pixels and also on Tommy Oliver TV.
How about those fucking like slow movement camera shots in the Rebel Pixels video, looking over the things?
Yes.
Like I know that's like a $20 investment, but like a lot of guys wouldn't think to do that, and it just adds so much professionalism to a video like that. The commitment is off the charts. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to. I was gonna say that I kind of have always like admired your ability to speak on podcasts and in front of cameras. You never seem to have too much of an issue getting your point across. Like you've always been like a good talker, even though you may not think it, because you put yourself down a lot, and I think you shouldn't, because you're actually pretty great.
You and Hippo are the same in that way,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, both of you like dramatically undervalue yourself in comparison to what your talents are. I mean, what Jesse was just saying about the thumbnails, like, I think, Tom, you're like the most underpaid graphic designer in the world, because you're doing what would be professional graphic design work, and you could sell that to anybody and they'd buy it at a real price. Because it's real graphic design work on all your channels and your website. You built a website from scratch with a type of technology I'd never quite seen before, that it's like, what is it, like WebMs or something? What is the mechanic that your Sorcerer's Lost uses?
Well, so those are just they're just regular MP4 videos, but I went into the auto player and they have them so they automatically play instead of, and when they start playing, as soon as they start playing, they hide the controls so you can't get to them. So they work like GIFs, but they're not huge because a GIF that big would be like 15 meg, would take forever to download, but the video is only like 2 meg. So they work just like GIFs, but they're actual videos, and you just go in and code to hide all the UI and stuff.
I've literally never seen a website built that way before. And I really like it. Like, the motion comic, because you've been working on it forever, and, like, in each different iteration of it I'd seen, it had never clicked for me until that website. And, like, because they're all the same size, and they kind of play in this natural way where you click on each new page and it makes perfect sense to read it that way. And I was like, he finally did it. He cracked the code. He figured out how to make this make sense to me.
The way to make it work was to say, fuck all of your sites, I'm doing it myself.
Perfect. Speaking of the motion comic, it looked really good. I never really thought of you as an animator, but some of the animations in the comic were really swell. Like, just off the top of my head, there's a close-up of the monster's foot, like, hitting the ground and then pushing off as it like chases them, and it's like multiple frames and it moves really smooth and looks good, man. That was a talent I didn't know you had until I saw it in action.
Yeah, it was a lot of the skills in that were just like, because like I hadn't done them before. It's like, fuck, I need to do this thing. I guess I have to sit here and like make it work.
Yeah,
like the website thing, like I didn't want to do the website,
really
but it's like, well, I have to because there's no other way to do this. And then the WebM thing was like, I was originally going to do GIFs. I'm like, they're too big, so I guess I got to figure out how to get around that. So it's a lot of like progress because of like necessity over it. Necessity is the mother of invention, and that is very true on that entire website.
I mean, go ahead.
I was gonna say that you seem to like work really hard for like to make like ideas or like to find solutions to problems. Like you didn't want to draw backgrounds for your comics, so you just learned how to do 3D. And you were just making 3D things, and it's like, shit, like that's a lot of work. I've done 3D and it's fucking atrocious. But you got quite good at it.
I learned quite a bit about how like comics are drawn and like how digital art works from watching you do it on streams. Like I'd never thought about what a 3D environment could be used for as the background of a scene until I saw you do it, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, like of course you can do that, but who would have thought to, and who would have learned how to, you know? And I definitely think you're the most multimedia out of all of us. I mean, you can code a website. You can do 3D, you can do animations, you can do hand-drawn artwork, you can do digital, what's the word I just said about the fucking thumbnails a minute ago? Graphic design, typography, you understand. Like all those, every single one of those is like a different aesthetic skill, and I think it's undervalued. People think of artists as like, I can draw good, you know, but like when you're making the aesthetic of a whole channel,
more going on there.
Yeah, you seem to understand every single one of the component pieces. Sorcerer's Lost has a font, it has a logo, and they all make sense and they all flow into each other, you know?
I mean, I kind of know looking at your stuff that there's like a lot of multi-layered shit going on. I mean, I coded my website too. Well, it's not as fancy. It's not as advanced as what you did with yours though. But I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I used your website to help make mine though.
Cool.
I thought I told you, but I was having like a hell of a time with the resizing of the buttons as the screen got bigger, and yours just did that. And I was like, Ben, how did you do that? I think the first time we talked about it, you're like, I don't even know how it happened. So I had to go into your code and look at it and be like, all right, I'm gonna figure out how the fuck this worked. And it was like you set some value to a percentage instead of an actual like number. Yeah, and that's how they were shrinking and stuff.
I scaled my divs, man. You got to scale those divs.
Exactly.
Fun fact: I made a Best Guy Ever website right when I started Best Guy Ever, and paid for a couple of months to host the domain. But it has gone away because I always thought I'd make it pro. Because the thing I had was a piece of shit. It was garbage, and I always planned to improve it, but I could never get anything like Ben's. Probably because I just didn't commit enough time.
It's a fucking time commitment.
Yeah, it is.
That took like probably like somewhere between 3 and 4 months to like make that whole thing.
Oh, good.
And half of it was just like bugs. Because like I remember I spent like a week straight of just like the footer would fuck up, and like certain times it would like push past the bottom of the screen at certain resolutions, and I had no idea why. For a week I was just like Googling things and typing in random code trying to make that work, and that was like a week of time just like getting the footer that no one will read to work right.
Yeah. I mean, I think I actually started doing end cards in my videos after you did. Like, I saw the way you laid out your end cards, and I was like, I'm going to copy that, and started doing it more that way. Because I think you were one of the first people I saw who had created an overlay graphic to frame it all in, and like had, like the titles of videos under them and stuff, and like, put in all these fancy little things. And even beyond, because I could talk about you as a, visual designer, but you also write actual fiction well, which is something I think only you and Jesse can like do that out of this group, like write fiction novel stuff. You did this fanfic, this like extensive novel length fanfic, and I remember reading it and being like, Tom, you can actually write. Why don't you do this? And you were like, I want to, but I'm tethered to these 5 YouTube channels and all this other shit.
I'm actually writing. I think I might do Sorceress Lost as the novel. It's switched formats so many times. So what I'm thinking right now is
you're only
like,
5 days late for NaNoWriMo, dog.
I know. I wanted to start that, but like I have some friends coming over for a week for my birthday, so I'm like I can't NaNoWriMo while they're here, because that was the plan. I was going to go from Inktober straight into that, because I was thinking I have like 10 old story ideas from high school and college that I've abandoned. Like that'd be cool if I just NaNoWriMo'd like each one of those and just shit them out as like garbage. Like I finished this idea from like a decade and a half ago, even though it's like total trash. So that could be interesting. But like I'm thinking the motion comic just takes so much work, and I really enjoy doing it, but I hate the fact, like I really enjoyed working on it up until I posted it, and then it's like you have to update this like on a weekly basis, or like now you're on a time limit, and like time limits stress me out.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I want to like do those like kind of like in short bursts, and just like have like a couple things like, oh, this is just like a little advertisement or a little like, Overwatch totally influenced me. The way they're marketing Overwatch is brilliant, because like their entire advertising campaign is not canon, because it has nothing to do with the game at all.
I hate that.
It's more like the game isn't canon to the series. Like the game is just nothing related to the actual characters.
The game is like, it's completely. I enjoyed the videos they make for the game more than playing the game. But like
it's like they made a Super Smash Brothers, and then just none of the characters are from anything else. They're just like, now they're fighting.
It's really weird, because like none of it even makes any sense in the lore that they're like putting all this time and effort into. Because like they have like these 2 groups of like the Overwatch guys and the Talon guys, and then you can be them on the same team and be buddy. You're just like, what?
I think they were inspired by the genius writers over at Riot Games who make League of Legends. You know, there used to be a reason why all the characters fight. Got retconned out. Now there's just no reason why they fight. It's just they just are doing it.
Just,
what is that, Riot? What are you fucking doing? I'm sorry.
I think it's more. They gotta be. That's all they care about. But like, there was a reason, and they advertised something completely different from what you're buying, but you got attached to the characters. So it's like, what if I do a bunch of videos just focusing on these characters doing like short little endearing things, and then if I was just writing a novel about like them like the actual story, like now you like the characters, so you'll read it even though you fucking hate reading, because everybody under the age of 25 hates reading.
If you make it a light novel, you could go to Japan.
Yeah.
Well, my whole thing is right now I'm starting like really small. I'm like, if I can write a better story than Reki Kawahara, like I'm good. Like that's my first stepping stone. If I can do better than that.
I don't. Whatever. He gets a good artist, and she gets popular for whatever reason. Tom, I was going to say that they were saying that I do adult sorts of things, professional type of stuff, but you continue to impress me with your like the way that you reach out to the tablet companies.
I was going to say, I'm really impressed
how you get them to send fucking free shit.
Yeah,
that's the best.
I don't know.
So awesome.
I don't know how I would even go about doing that, and it's great. It's incredible.
I would just assume that they wouldn't try
and hope they reply.
But the chutzpah it takes to reach out to do that, I wouldn't have even thought that's a thing. But I mean, maybe you just had done research and know they would do it. But nonetheless, that is pro shit, and I seek to emulate it because it's good stuff.
It's pretty cool. There's actually, I found recently a website where you can go on there, you sign up for an account, and you have to like make your Amazon, because it's all through Amazon, you make your Amazon account look nice and pretty, and then you can get discounted things that vendors want you to review on Amazon through there, and they'll discount them like 50% or give you them for free.
50%. That's not bad.
So I'm like looking through there now. It's like not like super expensive. Like no one's gonna be like, here's a 4K TV for like 90% off. But there's like smaller things. So like, I don't know. And then I'm trying to like make Rebel Pixels like more professional. Like I just got this like handheld gimbal for the DSLR, so you can do like walking shots. So I don't have to be stuck in my basement. Like I have
cool.
I'm gonna get my friend. I'm like, I want to do a review on the Surface Pro 3. So I wanted to get like super pro and be like, I'm gonna walk around town and like go to places and use this. And you just have the gimbal and follow.
Oh, that's classy as fuck.
Super sexy. It's gonna be great.
Dude, the thing you did with somebody, maybe it was like your sister or something, but someone was filming you when you went to the store to test out the tablet in like the Apple store, like the new thing that was announced, or it was the Microsoft store.
I brought
that was awesome.
I brought the tripod and the slider and just set them up like in front of it and just like, can I just record over there for like 20 minutes? And they're like, yeah, fine. So
I was wondering what they said about that.
Yeah, they were surprisingly chill. I was like expecting them to be like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
They were just like, oh, it's the 100th YouTuber is in today to film our fucking shit. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was fun.
Cool.
Where's Digi?
He died.
Did he die?
He died. He's dead. He's dead. Well,
I think his...
Tom, I'm just curious about, so professionally, where do you see your career going right now? Are you looking to pursue, go hardcore with the tech stuff with Rebel Pixels, or are you going to like split your time between that and doing Sorcerer's Loft stuff? What's your focus right now?
My problem is I can't really focus on it. Like that's why I was saying like I really admire what Ben can do. He's like, I'm going to do the champion, and then like that's all he did, and like didn't. I'm like one of those people that like I thrive off of feedback, so I constantly have to be putting stuff out to make me feel better about my like own existence. So if I just sat there in a room for like 5 months and did nothing and I had no like contact with humanity, I just like my whole like self-doubt would eat away at me, because I've been writing this first chapter of SL and I've gotten way farther with it than I ever did with the comic. It's like everything that would have taken forever, but like the whole time I've been writing it for like 6 months, I've been like, this is garbage, this is crap, this is like not good.
I know the feeling, but I really want you to work through it, because I know I've heard you in streams talk about like, the characters and the story and the setting and the world and stuff, and I know that there's a lot going on there, and I just want you to get it out. I want you to write it or put it out there by any means necessary.
Well,
so
I'm hoping that as soon as this podcast is done, I'm sitting down and I'm finishing the first draft, because it's like 95% done. It's like 12,000 words.
That's awesome.
So that will be done, and then I'm going to send it out to a couple people, get some edits, and then hopefully, I'm hoping it'll be out by the beginning of next year. I'd love to like start 2017 off with a bang. Just like, here we go.
Yeah, man.
Pay attention. It's cool.
Yes. It's funny to me that you brought up the like wanting to do things that are faster. That was my exact reason for starting to do YouTube like seriously, because in school I was a programmer and done game design, and realized that I hated it because it took like years to release anything to anyone that wasn't total garbage and was like polished to a reasonable level. So I abandoned that shit, and now I'm like the guy who takes 6 months to finish a fucking video. I hate it. It's not what I signed up for, but nonetheless.
That's why you just do Bestie Boy vlogs and you get those.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, people like my Star Trek one.
I gotta talk.
I want to talk about nerd and make gameplay videos like me.
Yeah.
I want to talk about what is like the biggest influence that Tom had on me, and in turn that I had on all of you that you might not even realize, because gay. Tom's the first person I met like as a video maker, like the first friend I made as someone who made videos. I hadn't like I was new to
you guys
YouTube.
would talk about your history.
Yeah, well, I was new to YouTube. I started making videos. He was doing the same kind of thing at the same time, and we both became aware of each other like fairly early on and started collaborating and stuff, and we became friends. We started talking on Skype and shit, and the most important thing to happen to me and Tom in this early period was that we both were trying to become like professionals at this. We wanted it to be a career, but this is when Hasbro started like taking all marking everyone's videos and shit. So I had gotten I had left my job to do YouTube. I was making like $600 a month through ad revenue the first couple of months, which is crazy that I did that well those 2 months. But like, because I don't even lucky to make that much now. Well, that's not true anymore, but for a long time, I'd be lucky to make that much. But, like, I got monetization disabled completely. And so me and Tom were like, how are we going to make money from this? Like, we started... Basically, me and Tom were going to make something kind of like the Horseshoe Crew or the PCP, where we were like gonna market ourselves as this team, and we were gonna build a website and try to make some kind of system where people could pay like on a monthly basis to
Didn't
access.
you try to make a Kickstarter?
We did. We had a whole document written out that's
Yeah.
kind of like exactly what happened with Plebe and the Weed. We were going to do that.
Yeah, it was almost
cool.
exactly like
Back in
that.
like 2012, 2013 or something.
Yeah, and like we had like this like crazy like our goals had like this huge escalation where if we got to the certain amount, like it's like $45,000, then we would just move in together and make vlogs every day and stuff like that. So yeah, but we had all these different plans to try to make money, and then around this time when all this stuff was going on, Tom found Patreon. And if it weren't for Tom finding Patreon, I wouldn't have a Patreon, and none of you would have known about Patreon. So
That's true.
Yeah, like the whole idea of like, let's try to find a way to get people to be able to pay for this was very much like Tom's idea. It was
I remember this. I was watching. This is like when I first got into you guys, when this all shit was going down. I remember it very well.
I think the TBAT Patreon was largely modeled on Tom's Patreon.
It was modeled on Tom's. Now that you mention it, it was. I totally remember that.
I forgot about that, but it's the truth.
Because Tom knew a lot more about like marketing and business kind of stuff than I did at the time. Not that either of us knew a lot, but he also like. Tom knew more about like trying to merchandise and stuff. We tried to launch t-shirt stuff. It didn't go very well.
I'm a fucking what is it?
I'm a fucking Alicorn princess.
Alicorn
Well, Tom also had a whole t-shirt website that he was running at the time.
That's kind of amazing because Patreon is like the cosmic radiation that gave us all our Fantastic Four powers.
Yeah,
and it made us.
yeah. Like it was all just like me going, Tom, like, what do? I can't make money, and him going, me either, bro. Let's figure it out, and like we were gonna become this duo of finding a way to make money. But then Patreon showed up, and Tom was like, well, this works, and we were like, oh, okay, I guess we'll use that, and we've been using it ever since, and all of our careers are based around it.
Indeed.
So
not to mention the meme of you guys being gay for each other.
Yeah,
that is a meme that has persisted and only grown. That meme is expanded to contain all of us.
Yeah, it's so great that the PCP gives gays more representation in the media.
Indeed. It's actually kind of shocking how little of that there is now. Because me and Tom had lots of gay stuff made about us.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, I don't know.
You were
it's just a brony thing.
You were pony. It's a brony thing.
Yeah,
totally a brony thing.
And
should we try to ask the artists in the audience to start doing more?
Why? I don't necessarily want.
I don't think we need to ask. I think this podcast is already going to jumpstart it.
Should we?
This is the circle
saturation.
It is.
I'm sure we're going to get a circle jerk illustration of some.
This is a strong
I hope
image.
so. And by the way, guys, since
strong, bold images,
make sure to draw my dong the biggest.
I should have done this at the beginning. The tradition, I went to Urban Dictionary and looked up circle jerk, so if you'll indulge me.
Yes, please.
Have a listen. All right, now this is a two-part thing, so be patient. So, number one, when a group of males sit in a circle, jerking each other off. Okay, standard, but part two clarifies. It stresses, this is not what it is. When a group of males stand in a circle to jerk off onto a cookie or anything of the sort.
No.
That retarded frat game is in fact called Limp Bizkit, which kind of which is why the namesake of the band is so horrible,
Yeah.
I've heard it called
they were
Soggy
named after
Muffin
the
as
practice.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there we got something to do for Redcon too. Then.
We're gonna Limp Bizkit it up. Yep.
The Limp Bizkit
get
podcast.
down with the sickness, you mother. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Yeah, it's gonna be
band.
good.
Yeah, the Limp Bizkit podcast, not about the band. Look forward to it.
Because that's
all right.
Well,
are we
wrapped
up?
Not a Limp Bizkit song.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
I'd like to say, in closing, that you guys are probably the most important people who have affected me in my life up to this point, and I'm really glad to know all of you. And it makes me happy that I can be involved in your lives in whatever way, and we can do things like this together.
Same for me. I'm really happy, and I feel lucky all the time to be a part of this gay little circle that even jerks.
Like someone pointed out before, I tend to choose my friends. I seek out people who I feel are better than me at something. None of you
Yeah,
are as
yeah.
good as me at most things, but at something, most of you have one talent that is useful to me.
Yeah.
I choose my friends like I choose my women, that I can beat them into submission.
Yeah, everyone
And
here
all
is
right.
definitely better than me at least one thing. I agree. We're a robust little group.
Yeah.
It's true.
You're all my best friends.
Yeah.
You're all my best
That's
friend.
the one. That's the one.
It's real gay. You know, for me, a huge part of what makes the PCP what it is, and I've said this before, is that it's that we're all united in trying, like we're all trying to do kind of the same thing. We all want to be successful through creativity, and the glue that holds it all together is that we actually like one another's shit. That's the most important quality of the, you know, particularly of this core PCP, is that we all really like one another's work. I love Ben's comics, I love Nate's videos, I love Hippo's videos, love Jesse's videos, and I love Tom's things he actually puts out when they happen.
And I love you guys' Android Dong.
Android Dong.
Dong.
Android Dong.
Dong.
Android
Dong.
Dong. Android Dong. Android Dong.
Android Dong.
Dongus.
Is that a Vision thing?
Yeah, it's from the panel cast.
Oh. Okay.
No one
Well,
but
there you
me
go.
has actually listened to the panel cast.
I was gonna one of these days.
I have.
One person.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you jerked off as well. 'Cause, you know, that's the name of the game, and if you're not paying to play, then you can go pay. Fucking get the fuck out of here. Goodbye. All right, everyone, say goodbye. Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Man, I'm surprised at how many nice things we found to say about each other.
I'm supposed to be working right now. I'm supposed to be working right now. But I'm not working. I'm doing nothing. My dick I'm jerking. Myself I'm sucking. I am an asshole. I am a stupid. I've got a deadline. Don't wanna do it. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm supposed to be making money. I'm supposed to be creating funny things that the people gladly will pay for. Artistic genius, that's what they came for. Instead, I'm tweeting, hashtag repeating. That's why there's no heat and holes in the ceiling. Yeah, it's quite the burden. It's a hard knock life, being a genius.